Now, folks, as the general elections approach, many of our youth remain undecided about voting. And with us this morning to share their perspective is communications strategist Roger Danvers and chairman of the National Youth Council of Jamaica, Mr. Andrew Johnson. Good morning to you both. Welcome to Smile. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. I would only say this before we start the interview that I think the last election we had 30-some% of voters voting. And everybody said, huh? But to be honest, that's what it's been like for almost ever. We've not had like 60-odd% and 50-odd%. I was reading recently that 2 million voters, I think our electors are out there. But the last election and the one before it was 37%. Rachel, let me start with you. I said youth.
Yeah.
The youth care? The youth care who in charge, and as long as they make a little money and they have a job, do they care?
Well, taking out the fact that they're making a little money, the general consensus is that young people are not interested in the process, right? Young people want to be interested, they want to be engaged, but the hollow messaging and just the opportunities that are not necessarily reaching them at the time, young people are saying, hey, we're not interested in this process because it's not helping.
Explain hollow messaging.
Mm-hmm. So there is political rhetoric and political bantering that happens in Parliament, and we hear the announcement. But how many of us are seeing that effect happening and changing our day-to-day lives? So we're not seeing any major change that can affect us immediately. And unfortunately, this is a generation of immediacy. Mm-hmm. We want to hear and see something and go out in the road the next day and see change. And because we're not able to see that, we don't have an appreciation of the range of effects that will cause the flood of change.
Oh. So, Andrew, let me ask you this, though. What do our young people want to hear? What do you want? What do people, your age want to hear from our politicians?
Well, I want to focus more on what they really want to see, yes?
Got it, okay.
Because we are in an innovation region, era, right? Channeling from the information era. And we are still in the era where, in Jamaica, 2025, where Alexander Bustamante was elected in 1962 through a political process that is outdated today. And we are still having a political process now being dominant. And what the young people want is us to use innovation for them to be able to be interested in the process. So instead of moving from a university, the election is going to be called and it's for the 3rd of September.
Yes.
Right? And university students will be at school last week of August. Now, how many university students are really going to leave from Kingston to go to Westmoreland, to go to Hanover, to participate in the process? They're not speaking their language through the actions of the process that is currently exists. We want to see change. We want to see a system that accommodates us, not only as local person, but as a person in diaspora, to be a part of decision making.
So the innovation that you're speaking of is just the voting process that you're speaking to in 2025, just being, the process that, as you said, was serving Alexander Bustamante. No, it's still the same one that we're using in 2025. But what of the policies, the actual change that Roger was talking about? What do young people want to see?
Well, to be honest, I want to give commendation to the current governor because I see where efforts are being made. Mm-hmm. And as the governor general will say, there are some things that are right with the process that we can use to feel what is wrong. So most recently, the People's National Party would have released a manifesto, yes, and they made a part of version of it. The government, the serving government, would have channeled the national youth policy to have a relaxed version so person can understand. So youth can understand what is happening in the entire process, so they can be able to make a decision. Yes. So the decision that is being made, what is being in front of us now, is that they are part of the table. There's a minute to be served. Yes. And if they don't participate in the process, they're going to just get what is served and not being actively.
It's interesting when you said about the students might not want to go back to their community, but that should be, and I don't understand elections and stuff, but it should be easy to fix. Just carry a police station from your way and make the people vote up there. I know it's not probably not as easy as that, but it shouldn't be that difficult.
But Neville, I agree with your rhetoric. So we look at the representative of the People's Act, and you see that there's a 3-hour block that is there set aside for you to vote. But then I was reading that on election day, school will not be inhibited. So I'm saying, what about those schools where teachers are at? And are we not thinking about those teachers who would want to vote? Are you saying to the teachers, leave your classroom for a few hours to go and vote? So I'm a little bit confused by the governance structure for a country in general, and to be very honest, a little annoyed.
But not only that, because they're using some schools as polling stations.
Exactly. So I'm watching my country with this inequitable idea of the farce of governance.
I think we need to reconfirm that, because I could have sworn that I saw in the news release that the
Yes.
schools would be out of operation
yeah.
on the 3rd to allow for the voting process to happen.
Some.
Some,
So
okay.
the regularly scheduled schedule is for some. And I'm just wondering, right, how do we want people to participate, but there are barriers to that participation? And so my idea of a future for a country that wants people to participate, let's make it a holiday. Let's make it a voting holiday. Let us say that we are providing no excuse for you to participate. We believe that you are so important to the process that we want you to be a part of it. So on this day, voting.
Let me stay with you. Should there be a fixed date?
Absolutely. I am annoyed about the
You have
election
no
fatigue.
idea when it is
I don't know
coming.
what model is that. Like, I mean, it will take perhaps our generation, because I realize that with respect to the generation before us, I genuinely can't understand how we come by those decisions. I'd be very grateful to understand how we arrived here. But I can't understand, why would you put a whole country to election fatigue? What do you mean by when you're going to call it?
Yes.
Oh, in a mature democracy. We need to know so we can plan. It's not about you, it's about the country.
Yes.
So that's my perspective.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Having heard now the manifestos of both parties, Raji,
just
let me
one.
start. Well, yeah.
Just one.
One, but you know, that party, that
Yeah.
whole thing had happened in halfway tree, where
Yeah,
people
yeah.
were hearing about what was to come if a third term was actually, possible.
Yes.
Having heard all of that, though, are you hearing anything? Because some of the issues remain the same for years. Are you hearing anything at all that is now, enough to be drawing in the younger population?
Am I hearing? Yes, enough to draw the younger population, not necessarily in a ubiquitous way to have a lot of people come in, but you do hear the efforts. And I must commend the political parties. They are showing signs that says to us that they are listening and they are keen on the youth vote, right? But in terms of a blanket statement to say, young people can get this, everybody, I don't think we have that thirst. What do you think, Andrew?
Well, I agree with you, because as it stands, I just believe that the structure that is there, not many persons are susceptible to change. There's something called change management.
Yes.
Right? And whenever we are supposed to make some changes that may be risky,
Yes.
you realize that we are hesitant. Yes, and I believe that how it stands, because of the progress that we have seen in the changes that's supposed to be happening, I don't believe that we are readily adapting to the change, that we're readily moving toward the changes.
Yeah.
So it gives me an idea, or gives me the perception that there's an issue, a barrier in change management in our country.
Yep.
Absolutely.
By the way, 39,491 registered voters between ages 18 and 19, 154,832 between 20 and 24, 189,990 between 25 and 29. It's plenty of voters that for our youth.
On paper, a lot of them aren't here,
Yeah.
right? A lot of them
interesting.
aren't. Right, which is interesting. But I mean, abstaining from the process, I went into a few places, business places, see young people, ask them, do you know a member of parliament? They don't know. Do you know where you vote? They don't know.
Yeah.
Are they interested to vote? No. Why? I'm going to say nothing now go on for me. I'm going to say nothing now go on for me.
Question to you both. I'll start with you, Andrew. There will be 3 debates. I suspect both leaders will be in one. I don't know the other 2. But what do you want them to debate about?
Well, I want them to debate about, I hear both parties talk about track record. I want them to get persons to understand what they have been doing in the past. And of course, how they're going to use that as a platform to challenge into the future. Right? As you mentioned, what I want them to talk about, I want to give the attention to something. Even recently, myself and Mr. Danvers were talking about this entire debating process. And we're saying that who do we not have a section where the youth debate on policies, youth debate on change. We have the G2K, we have the PMPYO, we have Young Jamaica, we have political platform, youth arms that can bring forth and relate. Yes, very important. Relate to the youth. Speak their language to the policies, because they are basically a replica of the actual governance.
Well, I hope
Very good point.
the people who are doing the debate just heard you.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't necessarily have to come from a young person. The questions could be thrown to an old man like me and say, all right, Rajay says he wants to ask you so and so and so and so and so. So I agree with you. They could be given a 5 question or a 10 question. I totally agree with you.
Absolutely, and it will also show what the future of the leadership of the parties will look like, what the tone should be. I think it should be very contrasting. I think it should represent the future. We should see the difference between what is there now and what will come. And so the Jamaica Debating Commission should really look at that. And other opportunities should be put.
By the way, who else you think should be there? Which other minister, which other area? Finance, agriculture, who else you think should be there?
Yeah,
As I said, I think the leaders.
yes,
I don't know, by the way.
yes,
I just suspect the two
the
leaders.
The youth, the Minister of Youth and the opposition spokesperson on youth, would love to hear from them. I think it would be a good strategic move to put them on. It's not necessarily one of the persons who normally goes for debate.
Right.
You know, you think about finance, you think about maybe local government and stuff. But the Minister of Youth, you see, Neville, we need a country that is deliberate about preparing for the future. And it's not only about having more babies.
Yeah.
It's about what the future will look like and sound like and feel like for our children, for your children, for us.
Yes.
So it needs to be more aggressive and radical. Jamaica is at a pivotal point where radical change is most important.
Yeah.
And I believe we can achieve it if we go out and vote.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that. Having
Very,
said
very
all
strong
of
point.
that,
Yes.
You have to go out and put your eggs.
having said all of that, you think the young people will vote? You think they really will vote?
Well,
The rhetoric needs to be more aggressive. What will I vote for? Let's be honest. What are you voting for?
Well, Rajay, we're only about 2 or 3 weeks leaving.
No, listen.
I think it's a good enough time.
Elections are on an election day. Yeah? So there's a lot of time. Tell us what we should vote for. What change? What will we see different? When you get into office, what will you do in the first week? We saw Donald Trump going after and he'd be like, executive order. We want that radical change. We are tired of the same old, same old. We hope that the PMP will come in and do different. And we hope if the Jamaican Labour Party retains, we want to see the difference. We are just tired and annoyed and frustrated. And I speak for all the young people of Jamaica as the deputy chairman of the council.
Brilliant.
Solid point.
Brilliant
Yeah.
from you both. I said this, I think it was yesterday, Monday I said this, that there was a lady, true story, I saw this on television, and she said, she voted for this man, and she said, you want to know why I vote for him? Can him give me money? And then she said, and she was very serious. She said, if the next man come from the other party and him give me more money, I'm going to vote for him. And she said, you know why? Because after them, we vote them in, we don't see them again. So I'm taking what I'm getting now.
Well, I hope that changes.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much. Solid points. Yeah.
Thank you.
Brilliant
Thank
opinions.
you.
Good to see you, boss.
Really hope Jamaicans, get
I
out
think
to
they
vote.
heard you loud and clear this
And
morning.
you
I'm
guys
sure.
are a couple of what is right in Jamaica.
Yeah.
thank you very much. I
Very
appreciate it.
humbled.
Thank
Proud
you
of
so
you.
much.
Proud of you.
That was communication strategist Rajay Danvers and chairman of the National Youth Council of Jamaica, Andrew Johnson.
Can you imagine 10 years' time them come back and I to lead all the party?
Hey! Never does smoke. Listen to me.
Rajay
I
just
think
go
it's
so.
possible.
Rajay just go so look for
Yes.
answers.
I want to say which party.
I was joking. Rajay goes so like you say.
Which party?
Which color you have wear?
I heard Almila did something. Perhaps I could call him.
All right, coming up next, we speak about the Jamaica Constabulary Forces Intervention Program for at-risk youth. Very, very important. Stay with us, please. Soon come.